Hey, this is Kirk Hilliard.
And this is Rusty Bird. It's the Kirk and Byrd Show. And we've got a topic for y'all tonight. We've got with us something I know you guys probably want and didn't know you wanted it, and that is name, image, and likeness. And we've got an actual NIL agent. This brother is out in California, so you know we big time. We ain't playing around, man. We
He's in
got
Los
with us
Angeles.
LA, right? Marc Jefferson. He's the CEO and founder of Jefferson Enterprise. Welcome to the show, Marc.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Glad you guys invited me in, man.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I'm glad we can hook this up. We've communicated for a bit saying we're gonna do it, but this is gonna be a good topic because you got
Yes.
a lot of folks that have heard about it but don't really understand, and it has made a major impact in not first college sports, but now it's even used in high school.
Maryland and
Yes.
Virginia. I believe Virginia passed it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Currently, there are like about 31 states that allow uh, high school students to get NIL deals. There's about 31 states out of all 50, but all 50 states have some kind of NIL operational in their states. Yes.
Yep.
Oh wow. We're gonna profile you, we'll learn more about you, but just right up
Yes.
front, because I know we got some people watching that think they know. Can you go ahead on and tell us what name, image, and likeness means? Because some people hear it and
Yes.
don't know, and then how exactly you got involved.
Yes. So thank you there, Rusty. On July the 1st, 2021, the NCAA approved where all athletes can receive monetized benefits for their name, image, and likeness. That's happened in July 1st, 2021. It started in California. California was the one who
Yeah.
proposed the law,
Mm-hmm.
and then all 50 states has since adopted. It started in 2021. I started my company, Jefferson Sports Enterprise, in July of 2022 because my daughter was a track star out here in high school. She just graduated. She's in college now, but she was ranked number 5 in the state of California as a sprinter. And
Wow.
so once I saw her doing her thing, I was like, let me go do this NIL thing, and that's what I did.
Okay. All right. So it is a personal touch. That is great. So now, all right. So you've been doing this for about little over a year. It's
Yes,
been out for about two
yes,
years. Now,
yes.
what is different and what about name, image, and likeness is
Mhm.
different than what people had before? Did athletes could they even could so an example I like to use is so
Yes,
if I'm an athlete, okay,
right,
and I play for Virginia Tech, and
right.
everybody sees a Virginia Tech jersey number 7. What does that mean?
Right.
Before
Well,
this.
before this, the school made a lot of money off of you.
Yep.
The bottom line, the the school made a lot of money off of you, and then if you had alumni give you money or something under the table, which is all of that was illegal, because prior to NIL, if a college athlete received money, it would mess up their eligibility
Right.
of being an amateur. Remember the stuff how Reggie Bush got in trouble with the
Yeah.
Heisman and stuff because the stuff he did with the house and the cars and different stuff. And I mean, this
Mm-hmm.
kind of stuff has always been going on, but
Yeah.
it was illegal. What Neil has, what Neil did was it was brought about because of the abandoned basketball player at UCLA. You
Ed
remember the
O'Bannon.
little,
That's right.
yeah, you remember the PlayStation game with the
Yep.
basketball games and all that
Yep.
stuff? Well, they guys, EA Sports was making like billions and billions of dollars off of that stuff, right? And the O'Bannon brothers wasn't getting anything. And they took them to the Supreme Court and they won. And so
Yep.
what Neil does now is allow a athlete to receive money like through public appearance, trading cards. They can do camps and all these different things, right? But here's the beauty of it. They can be compensated for it, and it does not impact their amateur status.
Right.
And they're not considered pro. And also NIL laws say that the school cannot look at the money that they're receiving in NIL as okay, if you got this much in NIL, okay, we're going to shortchange you over
Your
here with your
scholarship.
tuition and your
Right, right.
scholarship. They are separate, and they can't
Excellent.
even. The university cannot even consider what they're getting in NIL, and all NIL done the right way, because there are some prohibited areas too.
We want to talk
All
about those too.
NIL
Yeah.
NIL, as long as they do the NIL correctly, it doesn't affect their amateur status.
Let's just say that someone's wearing number 88. 88 is a popular number. If they are,
Right.
could a player just say, "Hey, you're selling. The university owns the whole, the trademark or the jersey." But could someone say, "I'm sorry, but I'm wearing number 88 right now, and I want a piece of every jersey that you sell 88 without their name on it"?
No, that's a good question. Under the rules of NIL, one of the things is there are different platforms. There are different NIL platforms where a athlete can go out there and design their own NIL merchandise.
Right? Yeah,
One
yeah.
of
I
the
see that all the
things that
time.
with NIL though, you can't have you can have like the university colors, but you can't have the university name
Okay.
nowhere on that NIL thing. Like if a athlete does a commercial or the athlete does a public appearance, if he does anything, he can have the school colors, but he can't have an official college uniform while they doing NIL deal, whether it be a commercial or any type thing. So that's how they need me to keep them out of trouble from that.
Yep.
Yeah,
And
and
Rusty,
and it makes
we've had
sense.
multiple guests. We've had multiple guests that already have stuff out there, by the way. I won't name any
Oh
kids.
yeah,
Some of them are still in high school.
yeah. And
Yeah,
so,
but see, check this out too, though. But it varies according to each state. But
Right.
mhm.
majority of the state law says that, but because it's like the university don't want liability for you, you showcasing their stuff at an event, or you trying to sell something
Right.
with their, USC on the front of it or Virginia Tech on the front.
Yep.
You might can have the Virginia Tech colors, but you can't have an official school uniform.
Right.
Now here's another thing too, right? Uh, the boosters at a lot of these bigger schools, the Power Five schools, the SEC, the Pac-12, all that, some of these universities are doing what they call NIL collectives, and
Electives.
there's
I
I,
all
and I
glanced
kind
want
over
to
of
hit
that.
on that.
there's
Texas
a lot
A&M
of
made a
laws and
lot of.
stuff, a lot of stuff going on with the NIL collective and the governing and all that stuff. So, like one of the things too, you got to keep in mind too that one of my the name, image, and likeness is a collaboration between the NCAA, the athlete, and the school, because every school, even in junior colleges, are supposed to have a athletic director and a NIL compliance officer.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
And so with what I do as a NIL agent, the requirement is upon any legitimate NIL agent, they have to register with the Secretary of State of the athlete where the athlete resides. And we also have to register at the NIL compliance officer and with the AD at the university. I currently have 6 clients up under me. I graduated from Mississippi Valley State University, and I took even though I'm
Oh,
out here in
Jerry Rice,
California,
right?
Jerry Rice, I was
Nice.
there when you're there. Phi
Oh
Beta
wow.
Sigma. We did my frat brother. Yes, we are.
Okay, that's right. Okay.
So, but even though I'm out here in California, it was important to me that I take the NIL information back to Mississippi to my alma mater. So my first 5 clients were all MVSU uh, students and student
Outstanding.
athletes,
Yeah.
and one of them just got a NIL deal with Cheez It. So keep your eye out for that.
It's a
So
big brand. So
Wow.
yes,
let me ask you. So we all think about the big time nil. So like the gymnast at LSU. She's
yes,
she's doing unbelievable things, and then
yes,
there's a lot of the multi-million. But what are
yes,
some of, because we were talking about this, Rusty?
right.
Some like offensive lines are going with restaurants where they'll get food and these types of things. But what are some of the things like at that base level where kids can go in and benefit? And it may not necessarily be with a major brand or whatever, but like at a ground level, and even for some of the high school kids, what are some of the opportunities?
It's a good question. Let me start back. How did I get my NIL credentials? Right.
Yep.
I Steinberg Sports Entertainment, which is Patrick Mahomes, Patrick, the quarterback for Kansas City. I went to that sports agency out here in Los Angeles, California. that office trained me on name, image, and likeness. I also took a sports management athlete branding course from Sports Management Worldwide. I have a bachelor's degree in business, and I have two master's degree, and I'm also a retired Air Force officer. When I
Okay.
was in the Air Force and what I do now for Space Force is I work in HR. So I've always had a business background. To Kirk's question, though, he asked about what you can do. What I learned through my training is I tell my clients we want to start local and build up. One of the key things about how those athletes that Kirk mentioned got those real huge endorsement deal, everything with Neil, well, a good part of it is tied to their social media followers.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
like, if you look at Shadur Sanders, some of the
Yeah.
points he talking about, the Reese girl at LSU, they got millions and millions followers, social media followers. So, what they can do, Kirk, is first they need to develop their social media. If they're not doing social media, you're going to have to do it
Right.
because the big checks come based off what your social media followership numbers are. And
Yep.
so I kind of teach my people about that. Also, just about in all 50 states, there are some prohibited NIL areas like alcohol, tobacco,
Yeah. Yep.
adult
Okay.
industry, porn type stuff, uh, uh, pharmaceutical stuff. That stuff is usually prohibited in all 50 states. So I tell my clients that when we go to some of these NIL platforms where they can actually view um, opportunities for NIL opportunity, there are several platforms that does that. I try to make sure that my clients stay away from the prohibited areas, but I just try to get to know that client to make sure I find a NIL opportunity that fits their brand.
Right. So you were talking about the collective. I've been
Yes, sir.
on for my school. I've been on the collective, and it literally just says
Yes.
you can donate. Right. So my
Yes.
guess was that's a pool of money that can be chopped
That
up and,
right.
and partitioned. Is that correct?
Correct. And
Right.
they can do that. Yes.
Yeah. Another question, Rusty. Remember the story about Texas A&M? Nick Saban had a
Well,
bunch of
Nick,
kids.
I was gonna bring that up. Nick
Yeah, so the
Saban.
collective was they took their recruiting class, right? And then they
Yes.
divided it, and it was multiple millions of dollars per
Yeah.
recruit. Now, is that the way that it works where you got a recruiting class coming in and saying, if you sign here, you're going to make $2 million in NIL? Is that the way it works?
Well, each school and each collective is different.
Exactly.
There was a kid out here in California was a quarterback. He wore his pajamas. He was lighting it up. He was out here in Long Beach. University of Tennessee gave him $8 million as he's a senior and graduated from high
Never
school.
stepped on the field.
They gave him $8 million to go to Tennessee, and he ain't thrown a pass. You know what
So,
I'm saying?
so, Mark, does that mean
Wow.
they wrote him a check for $8 million?
No.
Okay, go ahead.
Good question, Kirk. No, the whole thing with Neil is it's still illegal to just give an athlete money
He has to
without them
earn it.
doing something for something. They have to earn it.
Right.
So like that they have to most of the time, okay, I just got a client, Jamari Jones, quarterback MVSU. Uh, he got a Neil deal with Cheez It. So one of the things they require him to do is like they want him to post different things on Instagram.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Or they might want you to do a public appearance, or they might ask you to do trading card. There has to be something, maybe a podcast. It has to be an exchange of we're giving you money and in exchange for this.
You have to
And
promote their
then
product.
yes, and then what also happens is, remember I told you about how when my clients and there are several different NIL platforms. What I mean by NIL platforms, there are people like Open Doors, Spry, Influencer. There's a whole bunch of different NIL platform that I introduce my clients to, and then we try to get them to get their social media followership
Right.
up. And based on what they have in social media, most of these platforms give them like a algorithm that tells them based on these number of social followers you have, this is how much you can probably ask for in your NIL
Yep.
deals.
So I want. So one of the things I know I'm a big fan of the Dan Le Batard show. I love everything he does, and he's got their part of the DraftKings network and everything. In fact, I have a dream that one day this show will sprout off and we'll have the Kirk and Byrd network. Now,
Yes.
one of the things he did, he's an alumni of University of Miami. They're right there down there. A lot of Hurricanes fans. So it wasn't this year, but last year, the Dan Le Batard show got an NIL deal with Tyler Van Dyke, the quarterback of Miami. Now, the year before, 2 years ago, he had a great year. Last year, he was hurt, didn't play well, but they had done an NIL deal with him. I don't think they're doing it this year. Now, if Kirk and Byrd wanted to do an NIL deal with, say, a local athlete, like we have TJ Bush, who's from Prince William County, and he's now at Liberty University starting as a freshman. If we wanted to get a deal with him, do we need any type of certifications so we just
good question.
No.
Okay, so
no, you
the
don't.
regulation is on his part.
I know,
right?
Kirk, everybody, I'm asking this for the audience. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
No, that's a good question. See, yes, go ahead.
But no, and what I'm saying is, so I know somebody, we want to do a deal with them. What do they need any certifications? Do they need an agent? And then do we need anything to make this happen?
That's a good question.
Good, very good question. With the NIL deals, right? Remember, I told you there are several different platforms. Okay, let me back up. Everything goes through the NIL compliance officer of the university where the athlete is at, right? So each and every university may have a different certified NIL platform that they use, right? Like at Mississippi Valley State, my alma mater, they use No Cap Sports. Other schools like Jackson State that's in the SWAC, they use Open Doors, right? So first you would find out which platform that athlete is in, and then you as a business will contact the athlete to be able to go to that platform and put in a NIL offering. And to Kirk's earlier point, I mean, I've seen NIL deals for like $200, $50, $100. You know, it's the NIL collectives get all the big sexy prints and stuff, you know, 1 million, 2 million, whatever, whatever. But not every college kid is making that.
Are those available to high school?
In 31 states. And a lot of time too, it varies from state to state, but a lot of them will say that it has to be like a senior in high school.
Okay. Because like I said, Rusty, I've seen high school athletes out there now with gear, you know, and I'm thinking what you're talking about with a university would be pretty easy. If we wanted to get a North Carolina Tar Heel to promote ours and we wanted to pay him for that. But what about if we go to a high school player and say, hey, we want you to talk about us on your Instagram twice a week. We would need to make sure that he's going through one of those channels that you talked about.
Well, I would say if it's a high school student, I would start with the athletic director of that high school.
And confirm that we're in a state that can do it.
There's only 31 states that allow high school NIL. So he's right. You first need to check and see if it's available in that high school. But you know, I'm an agent. I have to keep up with that. If someone like you who's a business, I would just start with the athletic director and ask them what are their NIL policies and practices, and they should be able to articulate it to you. Now, as an other thing, I want to answer Rusty question. He said, like, what are the components of NIL? One of them is where a athlete can get NIL deals, right? And they get compensated to do like an Instagram or posting or whatever.
Right.
Another part of that is what you two guys are talking about, where in NIL, businesses can go to that NIL platform and offer different athletes NIL deals. And the platform will help you be able to structure your NIL deal to the amount. And then what you have to think of is what you want the person to do, whether it be give you a shout out on Instagram or any other social media posting. So the athlete can get compensated, but businesses also can advertise with athletes too.
Oh, cool.
Yes.
If you had to guesstimate, because we've all talked about this being around for a very long time. I mean,
Yes.
universities and companies, the networks and the advertisers have been making
Right.
billions, honestly, if not trillions of
Yes.
dollars off of athletes, and that's changing now. But
Right.
No, that hasn't changed. They are still making the billions and trillions.
Yeah.
Now
they're giving up a piece of the pie. Is what they're
they're
getting.
well, no,
Yeah.
they're not. They're not. I'm telling you, they're not. They're not giving up anything. They're just there's this is being added, and
Yes.
the school. Those people aren't losing a dime. Believe me. In fact, they're not paying these kids, so it doesn't matter. They're not physically paying.
Right. It's a reapportionment, but there's more
Right.
opportunity.
Yes.
Right.
But the point is that, or what I'm trying to articulate to is, we all hear about the high end, right? We hear about the high end.
Right.
We hear about national brands. I know there's athletes out there that have signed deals with Mercedes or whatever. What I want to get to is, how about if there's an athlete that may not ever go to the pros, but they're very popular?
Yes.
Take social media. What about in the San Francisco Bay Area? There's a kid that everybody's talking about, but he's not going to go, whatever. What are some of the ways have you seen? I mean, can they advertise for car dealers? Before you answer that, are we ever going to get to the point where they can put stuff on their high school jerseys?
Well, we do see them putting all that stuff on in the pro leagues and stuff, what they call branding and stuff. Let's say
I can just answer this part for him. So anything like that, Kirk, I referee high school basketball. It's going to have to come from the National Federation of High School Sports if they could do something. That rule has to change overall. That individual can't promote. They have to always have uniform compliance, and I'm sure colleges are very similar. But go ahead.
But I was going to say, first of all, remember, whether or not it's a big multinational business or that local mom and pop store at the local place in San Francisco, right? They're not going to write a NIL check to anybody unless you got social media followership. So one of the first thing I would do if, for me, if I had that local, I mean, I got some local talent there in Mississippi, and get ready to sign 3 more here in California here probably next week. I want to build that social media presence to where whether it be a local business or a big business will want to know, how many social media followers do you have before I write this check? You know what I'm saying? So I would try to get my athlete to like get used to having several different social media websites, start posting real regularly, and then once we get the numbers up, there's a lot of work that have to be done that I learned through my training before you can even ask for the money. You know what I'm saying? Most people gonna want to see your social media followership. Now, unless you're just somebody who's really, really like all state and doing all this kind of stuff, you still need to have a social media present to enhance your NIL opportunity. So I would, if it was like for me, with my young clients now, I tell them to, post regularly on their social media accounts. I tell them about, social media etiquettes or what they do, being polished, being clean, but being true to themselves too. That's another thing that all athletes must know. Their branding must be who they are, not what their agent want them to be, not what their mom and dad want them to be. It should be, what is the brand of the athlete?
For people watching this, parents, etc., what are some parameters? Like, I know Instagram followers is huge, right? So that's all about, and we think about classic advertising, Super Bowl ad, right? How many eyes around the world are going to see that? But then we start thinking about, we're older, kids live on Instagram, they watch TikTok, things like that. So if you've got is there a baseline? In other words, if you're talking about, if an athlete at the high school or freshman in college want to make $25,000 a year, are there any benchmarks such as they need to have 100,000 Instagram followers or any areas like that?
One of the things I learned from my training and learning through No Caps and a couple of other NIL platforms I'm with, they do a couple of things. When an athlete goes and say that they want to know that they want a NIL deal, they would go to their athletic director and say, "Hey, who is our NIL platform? Is it Open Doors? Is it No Caps? Is it Sprite? Who is it? Then they need to go out there to that platform and build their athlete profile.
Right.
Now, once they build a profile out there, the algorithm is going to tell them like what they can charge or what they can do or whatever like that,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
So now, if they want to do that, it would take some heavy work and a lot of networking to get, like you said, you want $25,000. You would have to be. I think one of the other things you have to do is not only have the social media followership, but I think it's important that they have like a charity or a cause, something that they want to give back to. Because most people don't like a selfish athlete. You know what I'm saying? So I
That's a good
think
point.
I tell my clients, I want you to start thinking about, even though it might be young now, but on the long road, I need you to think about a cause or a charity or something you want to give back to, something that shows that you have compassion as an athlete. And I let them
Okay.
tell me what that is. I don't dictate to them what it is. You know, it might be, cancer or feeding the homeless or whatever they're doing. You need to have something that's bigger than
Now,
just balling out on the field.
oh yeah, oh yeah. Now, I know when this first came out, a lot of people, and not even just when it came out, but now, like a lot of people were only thinking about football and basketball, or we're only
Yes.
thinking about Division I athletes. Now, Kirk touched on it. There's the gymnast at LSU, but
Right.
what about? So, a question that people may want to know is,
Mhm.
are other sports, because those are the two main revenue sports. But you got people don't
Yes.
understand that when you're a baseball player or a track athlete or volleyball women may probably get more money because they're trying to do more for them. But like with Title IX. But if you have other sports, non-revenue sports,
Mhm.
is this a way that they can fill in the gap? And are other sports actually participating in this? And then
Yes.
is it only a Division I thing? Because you got Division II athletes and
Right.
Division III athletes. Division III athletes cannot take any athletic scholarship, but
Mhm.
I've often wondered, well, can they get some type of NIL deal? And then same with Division II, who can get
Right.
partial scholarships or get scholarships, but the college usually breaks them up. Can you tell us a little bit about those two? So
Yeah.
non big football,
Yeah.
basketball, and then
Yeah.
the other divisions.
Excellent question. And the real answer is NCAA has made it for everybody. So 31 states let it do high school sports, any sports. Junior college, Division I, Division II, Division III, all qualify for NIL.
Oh,
And
good.
so if that athlete is interested in NIL, the first stop they need to do is go talk to their athletic director, ask the AD, who is your NIL compliance officer, and get registered. And then call me so I can help you get some NIL deals.
Okay. All right. Now, and Kirk, I'll let you go next. But one of the things I've noticed is, um, uh, like a star like Caitlin Clark at Iowa,
Mhm.
one of
Yes,
the greatest basketball players last year, women's college basketball
yes,
players ever, but especially last year. I
yes,
mean, she showed out. Uh,
yeah,
Crazy game, and it's an exciting
yes,
style and brand. She
right,
decided to come back. Now, I've
yes,
heard, I don't know, I don't have any of the statistics. She, it was of her a benefit to her to come back and
yes,
to play college basketball than to go to the WNBA. She probably makes
yes.
more
Oh
money
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
playing for
Yeah.
Iowa.
Oh,
So
yes,
talk
that's
about
true.
that.
Yes. Oh, matter of fact, both Caitlin and Reese down at
Yeah,
LSU, both of them said they
that's right.
returned back to their university because I'm sure their NIL deals are over $1 million.
Yeah,
They had a lot of publicity with the big showdown and the
yeah.
women's finals. Uh, Only a very few people make good money in the WNBA. As you remember,
Yeah.
Griner, who went overseas to Russia and got caught and all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff,
Yeah.
whatever. She went overseas to play ball because she was
Make
going to
money.
get like over $1 million some overseas where she wasn't getting that much at the
That's right.
WNBA. Now the WNBA is making strides and stuff to get better, But I mean, I think Reese said it best herself. I'm making so much money now as Neil that I'm making more than I would make in the WNBA. So there's no incentive for them to leave early.
Yeah.
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 What are some common mistakes that you see athletes and their parents making on the athlete side, not necessarily the industry or the colleges?
Oh, wow. Good question. Some of the problems that I see athletes do is just be raunchy and nasty on their social media. When people see that kind of stuff, yeah, you may just be yourself and you're having fun, but no. Remember, one of the key words of this, we're talking about having a brand, and so nobody wants to put
Yep.
their brand on somebody who's like maybe uncouth or doing a whole lot of crazy stuff. That's one thing. The second thing I see is, and the internet's not going nowhere. Whatever you did or whatever you film is for life. The second thing I see is that um, the biggest mistake I see is when an athlete gets a NIL deal, there is no state or federal taxes taken out of it. So before you go spending and buying cars and putting the bling bling or whatever, I tell all my clients, you better take 40 to 50% out and put it to the side and get ready to pay some federal and state taxes. And then the third thing I say would probably be that the athlete doesn't like being on social media. Uh, maybe they're too tired, or it's another facet we just add. They got academics, then they perform it in the class, and now we just added NIL. And so some kids get burnt out, and I try to teach them to at least find somebody or have somebody to try to do your social media postings for you.
Mm-hmm.
There's some right off top of the dome.
Just one last thing. And, I
Yeah.
see the collectives. I've looked at the
Yes.
schools that have the biggest collectives, and it's honestly
Yes.
the usual suspects,
Yeah.
Tennessee, Florida, Oregon, etc. But do you see a shift coming where if the athlete maybe gets out of the collective, because that collective, like you said, Tennessee was able to offer a high school quarterback $8 million, but there's always something to that. Maybe if they don't go with the collective, they can make 10 or 12. I'm just thinking about, within the changes that you see coming where they're more free agent and they don't want to slot into Tennessee or Florida or Virginia Tech.
Well, yes. Good question. That's been a push by some people in the sports industry to try to come up with a national NIL standard
Yeah.
or
Mm-hmm.
national
Mm-hmm.
NIL laws and stuff.
Yep.
And quite frankly, it's kind of moving at a turtle pace. Myself, I feel real confident in my ability as a NIL agent because there are a lot of people out there who are not NIL agents. They name themselves NIL agents, but they haven't been certified. They don't have any training. They don't know that you can get fined if you go and don't register with the Secretary of State and you don't go and register with the AD and the NIL compliance office. The NIL, it's going to be real interesting how Congress is going to look at NIL collectives because one of the things also came up with NIL collective is should they make them pay taxes? And so I've been keeping my hands on the pulse of watching with what Congress and what kind of national standards going to come with NIL. I feel very confident in my credentials because, like I said, I went to some of the top sports agencies to learn about NIL. I think I won't have no problem there, but it's going to be real interesting to see how Congress and the United States is going to do something about a national law for NIL so that all 50 states maybe will have like the same thing or at least a standard or a baseline. And right now that's not happening. Uh, and so I think it's going to get very, very interesting.
Yeah, it's a fascinating subject, that's for sure, man.
Yeah.
It's
All right. So Mark, I'm gonna give you a chance now. If there's any of your athletes you want to shout out or a little bit about your business, we'll give you a few minutes before we go into strictly all personal stuff. But just whatever you want to say right now. You got a couple minutes. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I want to give a shout out to my first couple of signees at Mississippi Valley State, Shelby Carson, the softball player, uh, Jamari Jones, the Q-back at quarterback at Mississippi Valley State, the shutdown cornerback Aaron Webb, Cameron Gardner, the tight end. You know, we're doing it all. Jared Wilson, the running back who can't be stopped at Mississippi Valley State. I see you, boy. I see you. So I just want to thank my crew for I went to homecoming. They won the game, man. So it was all good.
All right,
Woo!
all right. That's good
Yeah.
stuff. But I want this is
Yes.
like where we want people to know a little bit more about Marc Jefferson. All right.
All
So
right.
I'm glad you gave us a little back. Bro, you got the credentials. Officer in the Air Force, master's degree, Mississippi Valley State. Like you are qualified. All right. But
Yes, sir.
I know your cousin, all right, Reverend
Yeah.
Judson.
Right.
and y'all come from Mississippi, right?
Yes. Yes. I
Tell
went to
us about
Mississippi.
growing up. Tell us, like, were you an athlete? Were you only into this because your daughter ran track? Tell us a little bit about you growing up.
Oh, yes, good. Thank you. Yeah, I was born and raised in a little small town called Water Valley, Mississippi. I was a three sports. I was an honor student too. I was an
Okay,
honor student
okay,
there. I graduated with honors and went to Mississippi Valley State on an academic scholarship. I played three sports when I was growing up in Mississippi. I played football, tailback, number
okay.
32. I ran track, broke all the sprint records, uh, 4x1 and a 100. And then, so I played football, I ran track, and I played baseball. I played shortstop. So if you're not good at
Oh, you
shortstop,
an athlete. Shoot.
just stop running. And I was gonna throw you out.
Okay,
So
so
yeah,
you have that background to go along with it. Because you could be a nerd like Kirk and have no sports background and just talk. No, I'm just playing. Kirk was a three-sport athlete too at a
it's a
great
three
high
sport.
school.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, so
no,
I
that's
play. So I played sports, and I wasn't this size I am now, right? I was probably when I was in high school, I was about like I'm 5'11" now, but in high school I was like about 5'9", 5'10". I weighed like about 170, right? And so I went to academic scholarship to Mississippi Valley State, right? Here's a funny story, right? I went to Mississippi Valley State, like, oh man, maybe I should walk on as a running back, man. I went out there and these dudes were so huge.
Yep.
yeah.
Catch like 240, 230. I said, oh man, what you, a linebacker? He's like, no, man, I'm a running back. I was like, oh, let me go sign up for this Air Force ROTC.
Yeah, man. It's college football. Like, a lot of young athletes in high school, they say, oh, I want to play Division One. I want to play. Man, they have no idea. Some
No,
those
it's on a whole nother
athletes,
level.
man, I'm gonna tell you, and not just people and young people are always thinking the Power Five or maybe a Group Five. No, bro, you can go to one AA, you can go to Division 2 and see some monsters. Division 3 too. I mean,
Yep.
and we got a whole nother episode we can do though, not just NIL, but the transfer portal. So we'll do that another day.
Oh
But
yeah, that's a
all
whole
this
nother
stuff
animal
is
there.
changing, but you're right. Like people don't understand that the speed of the game and the size of the athletes, it is incredible. I remember when Kirk and I grew up in Hampton, Virginia, some of the best athletes. I'm thinking, and I mean, they're dominant, winning state championships. I'm like, oh, that dude's got to be going to Michigan or Oklahoma. And that guy went to Norfolk State and Hampton University because everybody was good. You know what I'm saying? And you look at
Right.
Hampton, they had some crazy talent. Like, so, yeah, no, I feel you. That's good stuff. Now, you said you have a daughter that was very successful in high school track. Do you have
Yeah.
any other children? Do they play sports
Oh, good question. Yeah, you see, you're trying to save me now because I'm about to get beat up. Right? Yeah, I'm married. My wife, Phoenicia Jefferson, she owns her own HR company called Total Force Support. So she does like state, nonprofit, and federal contracts, right? And then I'm a blended family. So was me and my oldest daughter, Zion, and I got married to my wife in 2015, and I have two other daughters, uh, Gabrielle, who's sophomore at high school, and Gigi. Gianna. She's in the eighth grade. So 3 girls, man.
Oh, that is outstanding. Look, and I have to do this a lot of times, and I do it probably too much because I've learned I need to. But I have 3 kids. They all played sports, but my wife is actually the best athlete in the family. She ran track in high school, leading Lake Braddock to like 5 state championships between indoor and outdoor, and ran Division I at University of Maryland. And so she's actually the best athlete in our family.
Oh yeah, my wife is from DC too, and she went to the University of Maryland too for her law degree, and
Okay.
she also went to Morgan State. You
Mhm.
know,
Oh
so
yeah.
for her
Okay.
undergrad degree. So yeah, my wife is from you guys' neck of the woods.
Okay. Well, next time y'all out here and you hook up with your cousin, we're gonna have to all get together because he's already talking a smack about bowling, you know. So
Oh yeah,
we're gonna have to hook that up, Reverend Judson. All right. Now,
yeah,
so again, we want to know a little bit more about you outside. You again, you brought the credentials, you got the skills as an athlete, you got the
yeah.
brains, you got the family structure. But what do you like to do outside of this? You know,
Yes.
HR, NIL, agent. What do you like to do?
Oh, good question. Yeah, basically what I like to do, I like to read about like investing. I teach other people about investing. I mentors like several different youth. You know, I try to bring some of my Air Force experience and my managerial experience to. I like to see other people excel, man. I mean, that's what I like to do. That's all the reason why I got into NIL. How many of you guys remember seeing that ESPN 30 for 30 and seeing all of them athletes going broke and all that
Going
stuff,
broke,
man?
yeah.
Yep.
And so, here I am sitting with business degrees. I'm going like, man, I can't believe that. I can't believe they did that, or I can't believe they did that. Only because I had been exposed to like stocks and investing and stuff like that. So I just want to give back, man. I spend a lot of time talking with youth. I spend a lot of time just uh, relaxing, reading books, various different subjects, community outreach. I just like to do it, man. I like to do a little bit of everything, you know.
So you like to read. My wife likes to read. Actually, 1 or 2 of my kids like to read. I didn't grow up a reader, but that is an awesome skill. But well, you know what I am, and especially since COVID, I love to watch stuff on Netflix and what's streaming. Are you into any of that, or do you and your wife like to go to the movies, or is there anything that do you do any like any of the are you into the streaming whole thing now? Because I wasn't until COVID, and then I watched Tiger
Right.
King, and I've been hooked ever since.
Yeah, I watch my Netflix. I watch my Lupin. You know, Lupin.
Oh
I
yeah,
always
yeah.
I like the who done it, catch 'em, that kind of stuff. So I watch my Lupin, or me and the wife will sit down and watch the Equalizer with Queen Latifah.
Yeah.
So uh, my wife got me. We watch a lot of news. I usually watch on YouTube so I can get the quick stuff and get in and get out.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I watch a little bit of everything. I mostly like who done it kind of shows, or me and my oldest daughter, we watch all the haunted horror movie stuff. And
Ah,
my other and Gabby and Gianna got me watching K-pop videos now. I'm like, oh Lord. So it's BTS and all those guys. My girls got me hooked on them.
oh, that's good. That's good.
Well, we always hit on certain things like subjects. When we talk about streaming, we always ask favorite movie. So favorite movie is a big one. We got to peek into your soul with that.
Oh yeah, The Usual Suspect.
Oh, that's an
Oh,
incredible movie.
yes.
That's my favorite movie. Followed real closely behind that is Casablanca.
Okay. Oh, nice. A
The
classic.
Usual Suspect. I love the twist and the turn. You think you got to figure it out, and you're like, wait a minute, what? I
You know
love
something
that. I
though, Mark?
love.
You cannot
What's that?
watch that movie casually. You gotta concentrate on that movie. You can't be
Yes.
getting up and getting stuff. You gotta watch that movie.
No. Tell him, Kirk. Tell him, Kirk. If those of you hadn't seen it, you go look it up. Kevin Spacey,
So
The Usual Suspect. It would blow your mind.
I'm glad you reminded me because I need to watch it again because I
Yes.
did watch it with my wife. Like we this is back when we had a VHS tape. I think when the Blockbuster threw it in. We were dating at the time. And I'm like, oh, and I'm thinking, I must have missed a lot. But
Yes.
but
Yes.
even if I had probably paid attention, I might not have got it. I need to go back and watch that one. That's a good one. That is a
Kirk
really
got
good
it
one.
right, man. You can't get them go
You
get
can't.
something to drink and all. If you do that, and I try to tell
Yeah.
you what to do, but if you got to get up from the movie, pause it. You got to
Yeah,
hit
There you go.
pause
those movies
because
that you really have to concentrate on.
there's little something in every scene, man. Now,
Yep.
as a sports agent, I would be remiss if I didn't say, because you guys named some sports movies. I
Show
love
me
y'all
the
down.
money.
Jerry
I got to
Maguire.
go Jerry Maguire,
Right.
baby. I got to go Jerry Maguire, baby. I
Yeah.
got to
Yeah.
put that at the top of the list, too.
Yep. Yep. Okay. So we got two more, and then we want to wrap this up. Now,
All right.
you've been around the world in the Air Force. You're
Yeah.
in California. You got your wife from DC. You went to Mississippi Valley. You mentioned Jerry Rice, and you're an agent. Now,
Yes.
if I now this says this doesn't have to do anything with your being an agent or being a baller in LA. But is there anybody in your phone that you can text and they'll text you back? All right.
Yeah.
And it might kind of be interesting to us. Now, it doesn't have to be somebody
Yes.
famous, but it will
Yes.
if it is, that'd be interesting. But is there anybody you could hit up and then they'd hit you back?
Yes. Man, God is really opening the doors, man, for me. Uh, I have two that come straight to my mind is billionaire Jay Bloom out of Vegas
Yep.
and multimillionaire Dr. Lance McClellan. These two men are mentoring
Wow.
me. I met
Wow.
these guys out here in Los Angeles. So those probably the two that good. I'm their mentee. They're teaching me the business aspect and, even more the principle of how to make money work for you. So that's probably two people on my phone that probably, a billionaire.
Wow.
Oh, I
Now,
also got Willie Totten in my phone too. That's the quarterback who used to throw to Jerry Rice
yeah. Okay. Okay.
at college. I got Willie Totten in
You
my,
got
my
one. And this is our last one. We want to close with. You mentioned billionaires, multimillionaires. But and I'm sure you're on your way, but it just
I'm
got
trying,
accelerated. You just got accelerated. You just got
right?
given $5 billion after taxes. $5 billion. All right.
Mhm.
What would you do with $5 billion if you got it right now?
If I got $5 billion, man, I would start with my family. I would help my family out. I would probably make some charitable donations. I have a scholarship. My mom and dad were not college educated, even though my mom was a valedictorian, but she passed away in December. I started a
Oh no.
scholarship. Yeah, I started a scholarship in my mom and dad name. It's called the Jefferson Scholarship Fund at Mississippi Valley State, where I pay for students who can't afford school or just needed some money in school. I would definitely get some money to the Jefferson Sports Enterprise scholarship there in Mississippi Valley State, give money to family, to charities. I got a colleague out here who make all my trading cards, Lance Reed, who does the OC cards for me. He has a church. I would make a donation to his church. And I would probably just try to focus on something to try to make mankind better. I would really try to uh, have it be useful to uplift and help other people.
Mark, that's a great
Yes.
politically correct answer. I want to
Yeah, we
know,
always say
bro.
get all that stuff out of the way.
You could have bought the
Come on.
Phoenix Suns with a part of that. Come on, man. Come on. You could have bought the Clippers. Not now.
$5 million, man.
$5 billion. And you got to
like
get
my
in now because the prices keep going up.
I want my GV80 Genesis.
There you go. There you go.
Go get the Sacramento
Genesis.
Kings.
I probably, give me some. But one of the things I would try to do though, for real though, is I would try to make sure that it's something that would produce money for me
There you
versus
go.
just spending money and
Yep.
it on materialistic stuff that decrease in value. So
Yeah, but when
that's
you
the
got
business.
$5 billion, there's a lot
Yeah,
that you have to worry about.
I'm sure you the way you
that's
manage
for
your money,
sure.
you could just put the $5 billion, live off the interest, and do okay.
Yes,
Do okay.
exactly. You know, I would probably try to look at too some of the for me for 5 billion. I would try to look at probably some of the stuff that is like plaguing mankind for real though, like
Oh
you
yeah,
know, like
yeah,
hunger and
yeah.
cancer. You know, it's different stuff. Like you know, we kind of feel like we're almost there. You
Disease.
know,
There's a lot in healthcare. I mean,
yeah,
Bill Gates
Yeah.
has done all kinds of like immunizations that cost
yeah,
50 cents and you get that kind of money. So yeah, there's definitely, and the funny thing is what blows my mind is that if you take $5 billion, 10% of that's $500 million. 1% is fifty
wow,
million dollars. That's $1 million a
wow,
week on, and that's like you can make that off of municipal bonds, like low risk.
yes,
$50 million a year in income. And then, of course, when you have that kind of money, you can
wow,
start investing in companies where you make
yes,
50,000%, so you can afford to fail on 25 of them. So that's a world we don't live in, right?
Mark, Mark,
yes, right.
Mark, Mark.
Well, I definitely would
Hold on,
do it.
bro.
Yes,
Magic lives out there with you, but he just bought into the
yes,
Commanders. We got to get a squad, man, because you talk about the
yes,
investment, the value. We might overpay now, and we may spend like half of your 3 billion. I say we, I'm spending your money.
yeah,
We might put 3 billion. You majority owner of the Commanders,
yeah,
but bro, if we can
yes,
keep that joint for 20 years,
yes.
I mean, he bought it for what, 800
Generational
million.
wealth, right?
Yeah, bro. If we can just live for like another 20 years and then sell it for maybe 20. I mean, maybe 100 billion. Now we
Now, I
bought.
would love to do that too. I think I just read in social media. I looked real quick. I think isn't the NBA getting ready to expand to like 2 more cities or something? I thought I read that somewhere.
I've
So yeah,
heard
I
that
would
Well,
because I
definitely like
think
to
they want
be
to
a
even it
owner.
out. They have 30 teams now. I think they want to add two to make it 32. And
Yeah,
I know they're always talking about maybe giving Seattle back a team and maybe
yeah. I think
Vegas.
yeah, Vegas trying to get a team too. I think yeah.
Yeah, LeBron said he wants to put a team in Vegas. He wants to be the owner.
Well,
Yeah,
he a billionaire now. He could do.
yeah, I know.
He might have a bit. Well, he might do. I don't know what he got because he's in. LeBron is into a lot of stuff. He's
he's a billionaire.
investing,
He's
and then
been a
he got
billionaire for a
movies
few
and
years
stuff.
now.
Yeah,
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 he's been
yeah.
a billionaire for a few years. If you look at how old he is, being a billionaire below 40, that's a big deal.
yeah,
Big deal.
My
it
brother
is.
is 38 and he just dropped 38. Incredible.
I know. I was. You see that alley oop that I think Reeves gave him. I was like, LeBron still can sky like that, man.
Incredible, incredible. Well, look, man, Mark, you have blessed us, brother. You have brought the knowledge, you brought the funk. I'm gonna give you one more chance if there's anything you want to shout out or say. And then Kirk, I want you to tell people where they can find us, Kirk, and then we'll wrap this up. Well, I'll let Kirk go first. Kirk, tell folks where they can find us.
Yeah. Mark, we know you subscribed on YouTube, and if you haven't, we'll give you a break. YouTube, follow us on
Yeah.
Twitter at the Kirk and Byrd. And for anybody out there in sports marketing, honestly, we had a head football coach in North Carolina. I'm not going to name the school. Just follow us on Twitter. We got most of the recruiting coordinators following us on Twitter. So it's a great platform because we've got a lot of high school athletes following us. So at the Kirk and Byrd on Twitter. And then for anything else, just Google our names and you'll get it.
Yep, Mark.
Yes, I just want to say that to find me, I'm on my website is www.jse with a hyphen in the middle, champions.com. I'm on Facebook as Mark, M-A-R-C, middle initial is E, like Echo, Jefferson, middle name is Eric, so Mark E. Jefferson. I'm on Twitter, or what now is X, as Jefferson Sports Enterprise, and I'm also on LinkedIn as Jefferson Sports Enterprise. So hook up with
I
me.
will.
If you send me an email, a text, or whatever, I answer them all. I will
All right.
answer you.
Now, Mark, I'm gonna definitely post those things. Mark, just so Mark, I want you to get certified in VA, Maryland,
Okay.
and DC because this show is very popular around all of the state of Virginia. But on the real, we're in the DMV, so we get athletes from DC, Maryland, Northern Virginia, and so a lot of those great athletes in the 757. And when they see this, I want you to start already being prepared to have your credentials so you can start hooking it up. Because we do know a lot of
dude,
really,
you know what? I'm dead serious, Rusty. That is, I mean, we want to move in that direction because we're working with the athletes. There's a lot of opportunities. And if we can promote our show, we want the younger people talking about it. And if we can do it legally, not be in an inappropriate way, we would love to work through you and others. So.
Yes, what we would do is I have to go through the Secretary of State and register in all those states, and then I will be able to give you guys access to all the athletes you want to talk to, or if you got somebody in mind, then I'll go just chase them down and represent them, and you guys and be the bridge so you guys can advertise with that athlete. Yeah,
okay,
I look
that
forward
sounds
to that.
good. Say this.
Yes,
We're old, and so a lot of Facebook folks still like a lot of our stuff because we have local Facebook forums where we post a lot of our videos, but they're very popular because people in the 757 are very passionate about high school football. People up here, Prince William County. So we have Facebook as a place that we also promote our show, and so I want to make sure people can find you on Facebook too.
Yep.
Yes, I'm also on Facebook again as Marc, M-A-R-C, the middle initial E.
Yep.
Last name Jefferson. I'm on Facebook.
All right. So, Marc, this has really been a blessing, man. I'm so glad we were able to do this. And we'll definitely have you back on if there's ever something new in this area that you want to share with us and our audience. Feel free to let me know. We'll get you back on the show. Or we can do this annually just to see how you're growing and maybe, like I said, update us on the laws, where you are and what's going on. But bro, I really appreciate it. Again, you have been a blessing, Kirk.
Well, we appreciate your taking you Sunday evening, and we have a lot of fun doing this, and we feel like we're building something. And this right here is honestly probably the precipice of a whole different way of doing business, because I'm gonna tell you, Marc and Rusty, in about 2 or 3 years, we're going to be seeing kids in high school taking advantage of how many eyes are on their stuff, and companies like Mercedes, who's already big in NIL, and all these others legally able to, because some of these they're bigger in high school than they're ever going to be. They're never going to play pro sports. So if you watch some of those 30 for 30, so it's an exciting, it's an exciting time, and you're on
Bowie Mouse.
Cutting edge.
Should have had an NIL. That's Friday Night Lights. Friday Night Lights. It's
the pre-Ronald Curry.
Ooh, yes.
He made so much money. So,
man, yes. I just want to thank you too, Kirk and Byrd, man, for inviting me on, especially expressing the news about NIL, man. There's so many misnomers on what it is, what it's not. And for you guys to invite me on to kind of share that knowledge base, I really appreciate you giving me that opportunity.
We're looking for a big spike in California subscriptions.
Hey, I'm going to do it.
And Mississippi.
Oh, yeah, Mississippi.
So and I'm gonna contact Rusty. I'm gonna talk to you guys about advertising on your website.
Oh yeah, we're serious, man. Definitely. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Hey, look, man. Again, Marc, you have blessed us, and so for Marc Jefferson, the CEO and founder of Jefferson Enterprises, he's a certified legal now. We all got that uncle that want to represent us. Yeah. He's certified, y'all. His brother got degrees. All right. He knows his NIL, name, image, and likeness. Check him out. So for Marc Jefferson, my co-host Kirk here, this is Rusty Byrd with the Kirk and Byrd Show. We are out.